Hello, everybody. I'm Ethan Cohen here with Jack Holmes, and welcome to What Comes Next. So, our guest here today is Marlon Smikle. He was born in Jamaica and moved to Brooklyn when he was 9 years old and joined the Marine Corps when he was 19 years old. He served 8 years active duty and 4 years in the reserves. He's now a full-time trainer at Sgt.Fitness NYC and has a podcast about his passion for cryptocurrency called Sergeant Crypto. He's also a dad of 4, all-around awesome dude, and an overall badass beast. Marlon, thank you so much for joining us. First and foremost, I hope everyone in your family is doing well.
Thank you for having me, and that was an awesome intro. Yes, everybody's doing well during these crazy times, yes.
So, Marlon, just to start off, as a teenager, how'd you get involved with the Marines?
I don't know. It was just... So, I have to take it back a little bit before my teenage years. When I was still in Jamaica, I was in the Scouts, like the Cub Scouts or something. And we would go away to like on camping trips, and a lot of times it would involve the military. And we got to like do camping on the Jamaican like military bases, and I was like, oh, this is something I probably want to do when I get older. And it was just like sat in the back of my mind, just until literally one day the recruiter just came knocking on my door, and I was just like, yeah, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So it was just always there. It was just something that was always in me. Yeah, I have photos of when I was like a really young kid of me wearing like Marine Corps T-shirts and Marine Corps jackets. And I would ask my dad, like, yo, who gave me these things? And he's like, you picked them out whenever we went like out. You were the one that picked them out. I was like, I don't remember doing that. He's like, yeah, you just always pick them out. So anything to do with the Marines, I was like, oh, okay. So I guess it's just something that I was sorry, need to sound corny, but I guess it was just meant to be.
If you had stayed in Jamaica, do you think that you would have joined the military there as well?
Probably, yeah, and be a cop.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, no question.
Do you think like the Marine like deciding to get into Marines was more about like the physical like was it about like serving your country? Like was that where the passion came from, or?
Not really. Maybe I think it just had to do with the physical aspect of it.
Yeah.
Testing myself. And yeah, like I never played organized sports growing up. Like I didn't learn how to play basketball until I joined the Marines. You know what I mean? Like I never played organized sports, but I always worked out and trained on my own. Gyms weren't a thing growing up that's as prevalent as it is now. You know, like every neighborhood have a gym or two in the neighborhood. But I always went to the park, did my own kind of training, and yeah, it was just like always a physical thing. So I think that's what kind of drew me to it in some aspects. Just always trying to challenge myself and test myself.
And what made you end up deciding to retire from the Marines?
I didn't hear the last part.
Why'd you end up retiring from the Marines?
Oh, okay. I didn't retire.
Okay.
I was done. To me, I accomplished everything. I got promoted really fast. So in my job, or it's called an MOS, Military Occupational Specialty. In my job, I got promoted very fast to the rank of sergeant. At the time, I was stationed at the headquarters Marine Corps, and it was at the beginning of Iraq and Afghanistan and stuff, and I just couldn't get deployed. Although, I always volunteered, but I just couldn't get deployed, and so I was like, all right, well, I'm done. I can't get deployed. I got promoted really fast. There's nothing else for me to prove, so I just got done. Figured I'll just get out and be a cop, and end up being a personal trainer. I missed it I did that. I did my 8 years. I missed it, and then I was missing it so much. I was like, well, I was thinking about rejoining the Corps, and then I was like, I don't want to be full-time active duty. Let me give that reserve thing a try. and that's when I joined the reserves, and then just the one weekend thing a month. Tried it out for 4 years, and that was it. I had nothing else to do or nothing else to accomplish, basically.
Yeah, you say you felt you accomplished everything as a Marine. When you became a Marine at first, did you set out a specific goal for yourself?
Yeah, I just wanted to be a sergeant.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to be a sergeant, so I did everything possible, So I got promoted really fast from private to PFC, like meritoriously, and then got promoted meritoriously again to corporal, which just means that it's way ahead or way before my time to get promoted. And then, the sergeant was just next right after that. And, I think like within 3.5 years, 3.5 years, I became a sergeant. I've been in the Marines, and I was like,
Yeah. So like you said, you got like promoted so fast that like, did you stand out from the rest? Were you like working harder than other people, like that they could notice? Or?
Yeah. So in the Marine Corps, I don't know about other military branches, but in the Marine Corps, it's based on your proficiency and your fitness, and so you got promoted based on scoring. So I think the way I worked was I'm kind of cloudy now. It's been years, but based on how well you shoot your rifle, because you have to get qualified with your rifle every year. How for your physical fitness test, your PFT, how high you scored on that, and then something called your proficiency in conduct marks. And I always had very high proficiency in conduct mark, and got awarded for them, and shot very well in the Marines when it came to the rifle range. And my PFD scores were always super high. I never got a perfect score over 300, but always like 285 and above out of the 300. So just always went above and beyond. Always, although some Marines might not try to do it, but I always volunteer to do things. So instead of just sitting around and not being able to do something, I always just like, well, hey, Sergeant, you got anything for me to do? Hey, Staff Sergeant, no, let me do it. Just always volunteer to do stuff, and just put myself out there, and it worked out.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, as someone in the Marine Corps, you have to stay in shape. So, was that transition over to personal fitness? Was that a tough transition or no?
Nah, not at all. It was pretty much the same thing. When I first came out of the Marines, this is how I met Ethan's dad. I went to the sport. It's called. It's an Equinox now, but it was the Sports Club LA on the Upper East Side, and just getting hired at a gym like that. From what I was told, and a lot of the trainers there told me that they had to have like maybe 5 years of personal training before they got hired there. But then I was hired there right away, just coming right out of the Marine Corps after getting my certifications, and I got hired. That's the first place I got hired as a personal trainer, and pretty much I started a boot camp class there, and the clientele liked me. I was young, loud, and kind of put myself out there. Just try to stand out from everyone else. But it wasn't a hard transition at all. I was always in charge of training my Marines when I was in the Marine Corps, and it was just the same thing again. Just now they're not wearing a uniform, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So besides that, just in regular civilian life, was there any like big adjustment like that you had to make?
Yes, and no amount of preparation for exiting the military. I'm gonna give you that because I just know about the Marines. When you're getting out of the Marine Corps, they sent you to something called TAPS or tap. It's like a tap and tap class. I can't remember the specific name, but it's basically it's 1 week of trying to help you transition back to civilian life. And I think they need to give you more than just a week. But it was just basically 1 week showing up to a classroom, excuse me, with a bunch of other jarheads and sitting there listening about the opportunities that's available to you as a veteran after getting out of the Corps or out of the military. And it didn't really prepare you for the mental aspect of it, as far as when I got out of the Marine Corps, my best friend, I'll call him my cousin or my brother, he joined the Marines with me. And he got out of the Marine Corps earlier than I did. So he knew what was going to happen as far as me feeling down or depressed and just missing the Corps. So he would always like just annoy me all the time. Call me, I call it annoy, but he just kept just checking on me. Hey, how you doing? Did you get outside today and go for a run? Did you go outside today and go for a walk? Did you look for a job today? What are you doing? At the time I was married, he would call my wife like, hey, what's he doing? Is he just laying on the couch? Get him out of the house. Get him out of the house. So that part they don't prepare you for is the part of missing not the Marine Corps, but missing the Marines. So that was a hard adjustment. I just missed being around. I didn't think I would miss it. You know what I mean? I was like, I was ready to go. I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm glad it's over. But yeah, that was the part that I missed, was waking up and going to work every morning and being around Marines, not just the act of going to work and having some place to go, but just being around other Marines. That is what they don't prepare you for. And it's kind of hard to prepare you for it anyway. I think it's just something that you have to go through, you know, and everyone deals with it on their in their own way. So the good thing was I had my cousin that knew what was going to happen, and he always just checked on me. Always, like, dude always called me like literally every day. I'm like, yo, why the fuck is he calling me again?
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight, I know now, like, okay, he was just checking on me because he knew what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
He knew what was going to happen. So he always called me, call my wife, like, hey, what's Marlon doing, man? And he don't even call me anymore. He said, what's Smike doing? Tell Smike to get up. Tell Smike to, at the time we lived up across the street from a park, tell him to go for a run. So he would call me like, yo, Smike, go for a run today. I'm like, I don't feel like it, And it was a couple of months before I got the job as a personal trainer. So it was about a month or two of like just laying on the couch, just sitting there, kind of wondering what's next, or did I make the right decision? Oh, I should go back in. And that aspect of it, that transition part of missing the Marines or missing the actual people is what was tough.
So when you did get into personal fitness, were there any other people that you worked with that were in the military or in the Marines in the past?
Yeah, as it turned out, there were two other. I was just lucky. There were two other trainers at my gym that had just came out of the Marines as well. A young lady and this other guy, and they went to the same like academy I went to get my personal training certification. It was like a 3-month course, and you got certified in personal training after the course, and then they basically help you to get hired. So that's what kind of helped me out too when I was a trainer. Just having that camaraderie, it's like, oh, just being around Marines, you know, and they're going through the same thing I was going through, just transitioning and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you kind of said that like the two kind of things, like it wasn't just social, it wasn't just structural, like the aspect of it that was hard to transit. It was like the social. Like, did you maintain in touch with a lot of like the people that were in the Marines? And
Oh yeah, definitely. Even to this day, a lot of the guys because I was even a recruiter in the Marines. That was the last thing I did. But a lot of the guys that I actually recruited for the Marine Corps still stay in touch with me to this day. Guys that I joined with, like my homeboy Devon, to this day, we, you know, today's his birthday. I just actually got off the phone with him. So yeah, a lot of people I still stay in touch with, you know, right now. You know, people that I met in Japan, people that just all over, you know, through Facebook and you know things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And just every now and then hit them up, you know, via text, or especially during this time when we're all home now. It's a lot of texting, a lot of calling back and forth. Just, hey, what's up? How you doing? Just checking in. So yeah. So yeah, it's been a while. I mean, yeah. Actually, this year, like you said, Jack, earlier, if I had stayed in the Corps, actually 2 years ago, yeah, I would have been retired 2 years ago. Yeah, if I had stayed in and did my full 20 years, I would have been retired in 2018.
Wow. So, I mean, as a personal trainer specifically, would you say that your career path to this profession has been traditional or not?
Oh, definitely not traditional. Yeah, no, not at all. Because so being an immigrant, right, and having, you know, Jamaican parents, their idea of like success is, you know, the traditional route of going to college and getting that degree, become like an engineer, becoming a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that, right? I was going to school for engineering, and it was just so boring to me. Like I was just like, damn, like this is what my dad does. I can't do it. I can't do it. So at the time when my recruiter came knocking on my door, it was just like, yeah, I was just ready to go. You know, I was just looking for an out. I was just looking for an excuse.
Yeah.
You know, I was too scared to do it on my own. You know, because like I said, I have pictures from when I was a child, and I have a T-shirt on with the Eagle Globe and Anchor on it. I'm like, yo, I didn't know anybody in the Marines. I have a bomber jacket with the big Eagle Globe and Anchor on the back. And my dad was like, yeah, you picked that shit out. Right. So it's always been in the back of my mind. I was just looking for somebody to come and just like, all right, come, this is what you're going to do. Yeah. So, yeah, it wasn't a traditional route. After becoming a personal trainer, then I realized, okay, I didn't even know that there was a degree that you could get as far as the science of exercise. Like exercise science was a thing. I didn't know it was a thing, you know. And if I had told my parents growing up, like, yeah, I'm gonna go to school to do exercise science, they probably would have laughed at me, like, what are you gonna do with that, you know? So after becoming a personal trainer, that's when I started going to school and started working on, and finally got my degree in exercise science, you know. So yeah, I had no idea that was a thing, you know, growing up. So yeah, not the traditional route at all.
And in terms of now, I know we talked briefly about it before, but yeah. So like, how has coronavirus like affected your work?
Oh yeah, yeah. This whole Corona thing, it's crazy. Total shutdown. You know, I didn't think I would ever see the day that the whole world was shut down. I still can't believe it happened. Like I feel like I'm in a dream world. Like did this shit really happen? You know, the whole world shut down, and yeah, it affected me. Like, you're my client. You're not here. Like, you're away. And yeah, it just all my clients are they're just away right now. That's just the fact. That's just what it is. Yeah, so it affected me a lot.
What are some ways that you're just finding to keep yourself staying occupied, with all this built up free time?
I for a month straight, I did a Murph every day.
Mm-hmm.
So a Murph is basically it's a CrossFit workout dedicated to Lieutenant. I can't remember I think his first name is Steven, but it's Lieutenant Murphy, a former Navy SEAL that died in the line of duty. And it's you run a mile, you do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then run another mile at the end. And yeah, I did that every day for a month. So like just different things like that, just challenging myself physically because my gym is closed and can't beat my clients. So I have a park a couple of blocks away from me. I just get up, go for a run in the park, do my pull-ups and stuff, and that's it. And just before this call, I was just training on my patio just a while ago. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just got to stay physical. I missed the opportunity to order some new kettlebells right before, because I didn't think this thing was like really serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it really like settled in my head, like, oh, this shit is really happening. I try to order kettlebells online, and they're still sold out to this day. Everything fitness wise has been sold out. Can't find it on Amazon. Can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, and yeah. I remember Ethan mentioning the Murphs to me a bit earlier, and it seems like a pretty serious workout. Do you? And then obviously that's a workout from a Navy SEAL, as you mentioned. So do you, in some of your with some of your clients, do you use workouts or exercises that have influence from things that you've seen as a Marine or other things that would be used for people in the military?
Oh, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell my clients, I just need a closet space to train you. That's it. You have your body. That's all I need to do to train you. I don't need any weights. It's good to have them, but we just use our body mostly in the Marine Corps. There's a lot of calisthenics, mm-hmm. And it's great to have weights if you're trying to accomplish a certain goal, if it's available. But if it's not, human body's made to move, so move it.
Yeah. When I think of you just as a Marine and as, a person that does a Murph every other day, that obviously sounds like a very difficult feat. It reminds me of like hard guys like David Goggins, and like how did you develop that kind of hard mindset? Were you always that way from like the day you grew up, or?
I am not David Goggins.
Mm-hmm.
He is definitely on another level. He as a matter of fact, one of the days I was doing the Murph and I just wanted to quit during the second run. I found him on Instagram and just started playing him in my ear, and he just like, you need to get out there and run, motherfucker. And I was like, all right, yeah, all right, cool. So he's definitely a motivation, but no, when it comes to training, I just love it anyway. It's a love-hate thing. I don't know. I like to push myself. I've always liked challenging myself physically. As long as I could, as far as as I could remember, I've always just kind of been that way. I hate running, but I know it's good for me, so I'll just do it. And the Marine Corps, it was it was the thing I hated the most to do. Especially when we had like a young captain or a young lieutenant that loved to run. And yeah, I hated it. I'd rather go to the gym and, hit the weights, but I know it's good for me. So, I'll just suck it up. And I'm not going to let, like if we're running in form, like if it's always a challenge. I didn't want the guy next to me to beat me or to see me quitting. You know what I mean? So I would just suck it up, even if it hurts. And as far as doing the Murph all the time, it was just a challenge for me, to always beat myself. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just, it's also, it helps me with my sanity, man. Like I couldn't take just being in the house like all the fucking time, it drives me crazy. And then especially helping my son out with his schoolwork, being a teacher during these times, it was, I can't really get mad at him and yell, because then he, it's not conducive to him learning. So it was just like another outlet for me to take out my stress. So I don't know. It's a combination of different things. Like I like it, I hate it. I'm challenging myself all the time. I just want to be better than I was yesterday. And yeah, if you don't move, you're sitting still. If you're sitting still, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is.
And you yourself have your own podcast called Sergeant Crypto, where you discuss cryptocurrency from the perspective of someone who was a sergeant in the Marines.
Yeah.
What inspired you to create that podcast?
I don't know. It was just I found Bitcoin, I want to say like 2017, and I've just like been in that space ever since then. And just wanted to talk more about it, to have my sons. It's like I started that podcast just to have my sons have like a recording or like audio memory of my ideas on this one topic, that's so broad. And I don't know, just wanted to put my ideas out there on different topics and within crypto. I fell down a rabbit hole to so to speak, and I'm still falling down a rabbit hole, which is Bitcoin. And yeah, it's another obsession of mine, like fitness. Discovered it, fell in love with it, and I was like, yeah, I'm just all in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So to that, like, I know me and Jack don't really personally understand like it at all. Mm-hmm. Could you explain it just like in simplest terms, like
so
what it is?
When people ask me what Bitcoin is, I show them that it's the native currency of the internet. So meaning when the internet was first formed, or the idea of it back in the late 60s, early 70s, between universities on the West Coast. Right, the internet is all about sending information back and forth. Like we're doing this right now. And me in high school, like this wasn't possible. So, the idea that we could send information and send live videos, a video chat, instantly over via the internet, and not be able to send value over the internet is it's like backwards if you think about it. Like we're able to send an email around the world 1 million times, and if I want to send money to family in Jamaica or whatever, or if I want to send you money, whatever the case is, it's too many middlemen in between. So Bitcoin allows for there not to be any middlemen. There's just peer-to-peer, and it works via the internet. We don't have to worry about sending it via a bank or like a Western Union or whatever the case is. So I know a lot of you young people like to use like maybe not Zelle, but God damn it, Venmo, right? Maybe Cash App and stuff. But those things are only existent today because of Bitcoin. The banks saw the competition and was like, all right, yeah, we have to change things up. So basically, Bitcoin, what it is it allows me to send value to someone else, right, via the internet without a third party. Point blank, period, and that's what it is. And yeah, that's it. It's a peer-to-peer network of sending value, peer-to-peer. And I don't have to go through a bank. I don't have to go through some kind of clearinghouse or whatever the case is, especially when you're talking about sending money internationally. It's a real hassle. So not having to go through that hassle and just, all right, hey, what's your Bitcoin address? I send it to you, 1, 2, 3, and you're done. You get the money right away. So it's a way of sending value over the internet without a third party. So that's what it is,
And so Bitcoin is obviously a different currency than regular money. But I've always seen these stories about people who become very, very wealthy off of Bitcoin. So what are ways that people can do that?
I tell people, so when I got involved, it was because of the money, right? I was seeing all these people get rich overnight in 2017. But what I failed to realize was those same people that were getting rich overnight, they've been in the Bitcoin space since 2010. They've been in the Bitcoin space since 2013. So that overnight success was actually years of, being in the space. Excuse me, buying and hodling. And what hodling is just a term of just mean holding on for dear life, holding on to their Bitcoin. And, they've been in the space longer. So that's why they became rich overnight. But, yeah, I as a matter of fact, one of my friends hit me up a couple weeks ago asking about it. And I was like, look, don't get in thinking that you're going to get rich overnight. If that's what you're thinking, then you're going to lose your money really fast. And I always point people to, one, read the Bitcoin white paper. All right, understand what it is and where the idea came from, and then always just buy some Bitcoin. The price right now is about maybe $10,000 maybe or 9,000. Like it's fluctuating between like $9,500 and $10,000 per Bitcoin. But people think that they have to buy a whole Bitcoin. It's like, oh, I don't got $10,000 to spend just like that. I'm like, no, you could buy $10 worth. You could buy $5 worth. Buy it and use it. Meaning send it from, and it's really easy now to buy it. So you could download the Cash App. You buy $5 worth or whatever the case is, $10 worth, and send it to somebody else to see how it works. You know what I'm saying? And see what's happening. Experiment with it, and understand what it is before you dive right in and think that you're going to get rich overnight. But to answer your question, it's I think that's the best way. Is just you have to use it. You have to use it and understand what it is before you get out there and think that you're going to buy some Bitcoin and next week you're going to be driving Lambos or some shit. It's not going to happen. Buy it and use it first. And always, I always suggest people to read Bitcoin white paper. Read the white paper. It's available on, just Google it, Bitcoin white paper. And, it's only 9 pages long. and actually 8, because the 9th page is about references. But so yeah, you'll read it and try to understand it, and and that's it.
So it sounds like you can like get what is it like similar to stocks in the way that like it goes up and down.
Right. So yeah, so in that sense, yes. It's similar in the way that you could try to compare it to stocks. But then again, it's also not, because it's more than that. It's money. It performs the 3 functions of money, right? It's a store of value. It's a medium of exchange, and you could make purchases with it. You know what I'm saying? It's a medium of exchange. So yeah, it is and it isn't. I don't like to say because it's a stock, because if I have like 10 shares of Apple or something, I can't go to the store and buy something with it. But with Bitcoin, I literally can go to the store and buy something with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If that store accepts Bitcoin, which more and more stores, especially online stores, are accepting it now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And if someone wants to buy something and they only have that Bitcoin, they would have to sell that Bitcoin in exchange for regular U.S. currency, right?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
They could just purchase something with it directly.
Oh, okay.
No, you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to. Like I said, a lot more stores, or mostly online stores, accept Bitcoin as it is now, just as it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to exchange it from Bitcoin back to USD, or if you live in England, like Great British Pound or euros or something. Like, you don't have to. But maybe no. I've seen stores downtown Manhattan where like small cafes and stuff. They accept. I saw in the window, like they have the little Bitcoin stickers in your window, and they accept Bitcoin. I mean, right now, during this time, right now, with everything being locked down, your best bet is using it online.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. But yeah.
And
Yeah, you don't have to exchange it back to US dollars.
With how crazy the economy is right now, with the pandemic and everything being locked down, how is that affecting Bitcoin?
Not really, nothing.
Okay.
I like to tell people that Bitcoin doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
So with the pandemic, Bitcoin is still working. It's just math. The algorithm is still working. The miners are still mining. The network is still working, and people are still using it all over the world. So yeah, Bitcoin doesn't care. It's still working. So the Fed could still print trillions of dollars. Bitcoin every 10 minutes is still working.
So that's interesting. It doesn't like fluctuate like with the marketplace like stocks do. Like
it does, in a sense that some people say it's a hedge against the traditional market. What we saw back in March, when the whole world shut down, everything lost value. It was just basically people selling everything they can just to get cash, right? So whether it's stocks, oils, bonds, if they could, real estate, right? Anything just to get rid of as much of it as possible to get cash, to get liquidity, right? Because at the end of the day, cash right now is still king. So in March, when we saw that big market drop, that big sell-off, it was just people trying to get their hands on as much cash as possible. So they sold gold, they sold Bitcoin, they sold whatever they had to try to get as much cash as possible. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I still think that Bitcoin is not correlated directly with the markets from what I saw or what I've seen from being in the space for the past 3 years or so. It's it doesn't care or it doesn't matter what everything else is doing. It's kind of just doing its own thing, you know.
And on a separate note, like what's currently going on in America specifically with the killing of George Floyd and the killing of many other unarmed Black Americans. You yourself, you're a Jamaican American man who's served for this country. So what is it like seeing these events unfold from your perspective?
It's just fucked up. There's no other way to say it. It is, man. As someone that a lot of people I consider to be my brothers are cops right now. You know, they served in the Marines with me, and they're cops right now. Some of them are Black, some of them are Latinos, some of them are white, and it's it's tough. It's tough. It's not an easy. There's not like just an easy answer or one way to fix it. You know, I have 4 sons, so and I'm basically afraid for them. You know what I mean? You know, especially my older sons. I have a son that's 19, or it's going to be 19. I have a son that's 18. I have a son that's 15, and you know, I know them to be sweet boys. Those are my kids. You know what I mean? But if they have an interaction with a cop, it's scary. It's scary because I don't want them to get hurt, and I feel like, you know, having served this country, I shouldn't have to tell my children how to interact with police. You know what I mean? Like it's like why is that a thing? Why is it a thing for Black kids? It must be a thing for them to learn how to interact with the police. You know, I mean, Max, you guys, do your parents tell you how to interact with police when you see them? Like, is it a thing like, oh, make sure they see your hands, or
yeah, no, that's a privilege that we have. It's just it's the way it is. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah. So my thing is, you know, why is that a thing? Like, you know, my 2 older sons, they've been going to protests and stuff here in Brooklyn, and I just, you know, whenever they tell me, like, all right, although they're going with their mom, I still tell them, like, hey, if you feel like anything is about to go down or whatever, if you're just interacting with the cops, period, keep your hands in sight. Keep your hands in sight. Put your hands up, just like this, so they can see you, so they can see your hands, and that you're not a threat. And yeah, it's just crazy. Even my friends that are cops tell them the same thing. Like, yo, if you interact with a cop, just keep your hands where they can see you. So, you know, a Black cop is telling a black child, yo, just keep your hands where they can see it. That shouldn't be it shouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it shouldn't be a thing. But
yeah,
it's the reality we live in today. In my opinion, it took us, and I may seem like cynical or about this, but it took us 400 years to get to this point. It's not going to change overnight. You know, it's going to take a lot of hard discussions, a lot of uncomfortable discussions. You know, and yeah, you just got to be willing to talk about it and not accept a lot of like fluff, you know. So like your podcast is called What's Next. I think that's a great name for the podcast, because what's next after all this protest now? what will happen next? What are some of the next steps we're going to take to ensure that we don't see a week from now, 10 months from now, whatever the case is, another cop killing another young, or not young, but a black man or a black woman, or somebody black, period.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do moving forward? And in my opinion, it has to be guys like you on the other side. It can't just be black people all the time yelling. We're getting killed. It's got to be people like you guys that aren't black saying, "Hey, enough is enough, man. This shit's got to stop. You guys need to change the way how you train your cops. You guys got to do in-depth background check on people that want to be police officers. Like, it's a lot of things, One of my ideas is hit them where it hurts, and it hurts. It hurts in the pockets. It hurts when you talk about money. If everyone just stop buying certain things or stop supporting certain things, whatever the case is, I don't know, just stop spending your money on just, I don't know, just an economic boycott, then I think then we will see some kind of change, or we'll see politicians want to be like, all right, well, let's start to have these real discussions, because the bus boycott back in the day with Martin Luther King and I think it was Alabama, it took over a year of black people walking to work, stop using the bus, the public transportation system, before they sat down and like, all right, well, let's start integrating. Let's desegregate the buses. Let's just allow them, or not allow, but let's make it fair for them to use a bus, or whatever the case is, right? It took over a year. So we are starting to go up the hill now. We're starting to see a lot of it's a sea of people protesting, meaning everyone across the color spectrum, across different races and religions, all coming together and saying enough is enough. But they have to continue. It can't just stop after the news cycle ends, like, which will probably be like next week or something, right? So the fight, or the changes have to come after that. Like, people still have to push forward. They can't just say, okay, well, I went to 2 marches, I signed some petitions on Facebook, or I discussed it with my black friends, or whatever the case is. No, there has to be more. There has to be more. But my idea is to hit them where it hurts. Hit them economically. Stop spending your money on people that don't like you. With like banks, there's a lot of racist institutional redlining when it comes to banking and buying homes and things like that. So stop putting your money in banks. Stop spending your money on these luxury items that they actually don't like who you are, but they like to take from your culture. They like black culture, but they're not like in support of the struggle for black rights. So no, I say hurt them economically, and maybe we'll start to see change.
Yeah, I really liked what you kind of brought up about how it's not just like a short-term thing. Like, it's not like we talk about this for like the next 2 weeks and then we forget about it, like everything's okay. It's really a more long-term thing. Like, also to that, like, when with the rise of the Trump presidency, like, I think it shed light on a lot of racism that was still prevalent in America. Like, before that, when you were in the Marines and like when Obama was president, did you think things were going like more uphill, or?
Yeah, I mean, when I was in the Marines, I've met some, douchebag Marines that were racist, but they weren't. They didn't like flaunt it. You know what I mean? And once you get to know them, it was, and they get to know you. It's just the way they were brought up. I've met. I can remember in boot camp, one Marine or one recruit, because we weren't Marines yet, was when he met a kid, a Puerto Rican kid from the Bronx, and he's like, "Oh, what's that?" There's like what's that, like a Mexican? So like he grew up in Kentucky. He never heard of people from Puerto Rico, or that there are other type of Latinos out there. He just thought all Spanish speaking people were Mexican. Like, he literally thought that. And we're like, nah, dude, what are you talking about? And the first time he ever saw a black person was, I think he said, when he, like, in real life. I can't believe he said that, but yeah, he's like, the first time he ever saw a black person in real life was when he played football in high school or something, and played against another school, and because he went to an all white school, so he never interacted, in his little town with anyone other than white people, But to answer your question about it going, I think that during my time in the Marine Corps, I've experienced it, like, some racism, again, with certain Marines, just because of the way they were brought up. And I guess that's what racism is. It comes down to, is just the way how people are brought up. But, yeah, it wasn't too overt or anything like that. And during the Obama presidency, nah, I don't think it wasn't out there as much, as far as I can remember. But yeah, I can't remember it being like it is now, so overtly just out there, with people marching and wearing swastikas. Like when is that, like, really became like such a thing? I guess it's always, it's always been there, and people have their implicit biases, and it's always been there, but you're not just so in your face. Not since the Trump presidency, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not as far as I can remember. Even with Bush and, like, Clinton, like, nah.
And do you think the Trump presidency has enabled that to happen with all these, like you said, overt examples of racism?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's giving them that power to feel like, all right, yeah, one of us is in there now, or something like it. Mm-hmm. It gave him that extra push. In my opinion, yeah. Yeah, I feel that way, that it has given. I don't know if it has given a rise to more white supremacists, like, organizations or just actions, and just them coming out. And yeah, maybe, yeah. I do remember that during the Obama presidency, there was a rise in like state militias, and like there was a report from, like, the FBI or something like that stated that like individual state militias more were formed during the Obama presidency. I'd have to look it up. Like, don't quote me on that, but I feel like maybe they were already there, maybe during the Obama presidency, and then when Trump came out, now they came from, like, the underbelly. They just came out. Yeah, I don't know. It's just we're just living in some weird time, boys. Living in some really strange times, and it's yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
If I feel like if he would just come out and just say he's against things without having to be forced to say it, you know, like that Charlottesville thing, with that young man where he ran over the protesters, and he said both sides were wrong. Like if he had just like, how can you say both sides are wrong when one side is claiming Nazis? Like, dude, we fought against Nazis in World War II, man. Like, I never thought in a million years we would see the rise of them again, and especially here in the United States. Maybe in Germany or something. I'm just associating them with Germany because that's where it started. But no, not here in the United States, man. Not in a country I fucking served. No way. I never thought in a million years. But then again, I never thought in a million years that the whole world would come to a standstill. So it shows how much I fucking know.
Yeah, I definitely think like that idea of like allyship is just very important now, and just like kind of like just like eliminating all hate and just not hating people, just like love, like really just the opposite of that in a way.
Yeah.
But I guess like on a separate kind of note, like because you have 4 boys, like how would you feel about them like joining the Marines? Like,
100%. Just I have no problem with it. Been pushing my son who's 18 to join. I'm like, yo, stop playing games, just go join the fucking Marine Corps. But then again, I know being a Marine that I wouldn't want somebody in the Marine Corps with me that didn't want to be there. It sucks having people in the Corps with us a bad attitude that just like joined because their dad forced them to join because they were in the Marines, and they hated every freaking minute of it. And I know that was like being the Marine beside that Marine. You know what I mean? Like it. Yeah, I wouldn't put other Marines through that. So it would have to be their own decision, but I wouldn't have a problem with it. And it doesn't matter who's president, ultimately it doesn't matter because it's still like the Marine Corps. It's like my ex-wife says, oh, she's afraid of him joining because Trump's president. I'm like, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to, when it comes down to the day-to-day life of a Marine, it doesn't matter who's president, so yeah, I'm just like, if they want to, I'm all for it. I still have my uniform here, and they'll probably fit it. So if they, they want to wear my dress blues, at least they got to earn a title, and they'll get it if they want it. I'll pass it down to them. But I wouldn't have a problem with it.
And if a few of your sons were to join the Marines, is there anything you'd want them to do, in terms of just getting the most out of the experience in ways that you weren't able to?
To
put that in other words, just like is there something that you'd want them to do differently than you did?
Yeah, I would tell them to maybe join like not special force, like the security forces, or try to do like some high-tech job, some high-tech communications or something like that. Just so it'll be an easier transition when they get out, as far as finding a job afterwards. But other than that, it really doesn't matter. Just having a title, is good enough. You know what I mean? Just being a Marine is cool. Being a Marine is cool.
Yeah.
You gotta wanna earn the title first.
Yeah, so you kind of talked about like like kind of wanting to push your son into doing it, because why not? Do you believe in like the saying "once a Marine, always a Marine," and like what does that like entail? Like it are there any lessons you still carry with you with that from the Marines?
Yeah. So yeah, once a Marine, always a Marine. Yeah, I don't say ex-Marines. There's nothing X about me. I'm always a Marine. The lessons I've learned is just the discipline. Still carry it with me. The loyalty to my fellow Marines. Like, somebody calls me right now and they need me, I'll be there. No questions asked. Like, really, if I'm really able to, if it's not like maybe, doesn't matter. If they need me, I'm gonna be there. It's just the discipline and that loyalty, man. Still being able to, when I put my mind to something, I'm going to get it done. So whatever it is, that's something that I learned or took away from the Marines, that you have a task in front of you, accomplish it. So so whatever it is, any task that I set for myself, anything that I say I'm going to do, I get it done. That's it. The earning that title Marine, or saying that once a Marine, all a Marine, always a Marine. Yeah, it's going to always be a part of me.
How much has that benefited you in life after the Marines? That mindset of, if there's something I need to do, I'm just going to get it done, whether it's for yourself or for someone else.
It's benefited me a lot. I feel like, if it's in business or just personally, my family, they can count on me. If I say, all right, if they ask me to do something and I say, all right, yeah, I'll get it done, and I give them like, all right, gotta go, I'll get it done. They know they can count on me to get it done. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be a problem for me. It's not going to be like me half-assing it or, putting it off or whatever the case is. And, when I worked in an office or whatever the case is, they can always depend on me to just, if I say I'm getting that task done, it's going to get done, no matter what, So it's a benefit to that, yeah. Even my friend, he runs a small business, and so every now and then he'll call me to give him a hand or to do certain jobs or whatever the case is, because he sets up home security and stuff. If he needs me to get certain things done, he knows I'm gonna get it done. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's hard to explain, man, but that's one of the main things or main takeaways I could say I've gained from the Marines. Whereas before, as a young kid, trying to get me to complete a task, it was hard. I didn't have the discipline to get shit done. You know what I mean? I'll always put stuff off. I was always a procrastinator. But yeah, I think the Marine Corps kind of whooped it out of me.
That's all we have for you as of now. I mean, if there's anything that we left out that you feel you want to say, you think it's important, I mean, feel free to say. But from us, that's what we have.
Oh, well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show and giving me the opportunity to just share my thoughts and ideas. And there's nothing more for me, man. I just want this quarantine stuff to be just done and over with, and everything to go back to normal. Although I don't think it's gonna happen like they say it is. But again, what the fuck do I know? I'm just a guy, man, just trying to make it day by day. But thanks again, guys. I really appreciate this.
Of
And
course.
yeah, man, that's it. Thanks again.
Well, yeah, thank you so much from us. I know that we can say we really, really appreciate it. It was definitely a great talk. It was amazing to hear all the stuff that you had to say.
All right, sweet. All right, man. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, and good luck with the show and everything.
All right, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thanks so much.
All right, peace.
Take care.